Hi, I'm Jen Rapp. I am currently the CMO at a company called Superside. I bet most people in this room haven't heard of Superside. That's okay, you will. We're the leading AI-powered creative service. We're very much like a creative agency, but we're faster, we're cheaper, we're smarter, and we're AI-powered. We were founded out of Y Combinator like 8 years ago. We're based in Oslo, Norway, but we're a global company, and we employ over 700 creatives globally around the world so that we can work 24 hours a day. Our main customers are people like the people in this room. Our main customers are the Google, Salesforce, which sounds like a lot of Salesforce fans here, Reddit, Intuit, Patagonia, Klaviyo, like every big company you've heard of, their creative team is overburdened and they're using us. So, I'll tell you a little bit about my background while we're trying to work this out. I come from a really strong brand foundation. And so I love what Jake was talking about the power of brand. I really believe in the power of brand. I spent 10 years at Patagonia running marketing communications there. Moved on to work for Tom's, the shoe company, and then went and led marketing at DoorDash pre-IPO. Probably lots of DoorDash users in here. For reference, when I joined that company, all my friends were like, DoorDash? You're working for DoorDash jeans? Didn't they go out to better business in like the 70s? I'm like, no, it's DoorDash. It's this crazy thing called like food delivery, which now is like so commonplace. And then I led marketing at Klaviyo, and we went through a big IPO last year. I bet there's lots of Klaviyo users in this room. Are there? Raise your hand if you are. Oh, Jesus, there's only one. All right, Klaviyo's got to get going there. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going as we try to figure out the computer thing. But what I'm here to talk about today is the fact that marketers and all of the content that we create, whether that's ads, websites, campaigns, social posts, all of it, AI is really disrupting how we create it all. And the marketing world and the creative world specifically is at a true crossroads. We've definitely all seen the magic of what AI can create in terms of like image generation. It's fast, it's impressive, and let's be honest, it's super addictive. I bet most of us have gotten on one of the platforms, whether that's ChatGPT with their new AI image models, or that's like experimenting with Midjourney or Leonardo. But it's super addictive, and it's led to like a total industry-wide transformation. But think about how it's impacting all of our lives, like on the daily. I bet a lot of people in this room a couple weeks ago built their own little like AI action figure packs. Did you? Did anyone in here create their own? Yeah, see? People are nodding their heads. I created one, it was terrible. I'll show you guys in a minute. But really, like, all these tools are expanding our creative boundaries and what we can create. But it's also creating a lot of questions about the future of... This is not AI, that's fast. Just press slideshow. See if that works. Come on, just work. Okay. All right, cool. All right, here we go, guys. This is the worst. It's not on my screen, so I have no idea now what I'm presenting to you guys. But we're gonna kind of kick off by taking a deep breath. Like, creatives aren't going anywhere. I bet a lot of you have creative teams, correct? Like a lot of you either run big creative teams or you have big creative teams. They're not going anywhere, but yeah, the industry's totally evolving. And today we're gonna kind of walk through a reality check on the magic of AI. We're gonna talk about how AI is actually influencing the creative process. We're gonna do some fun examples of AI in action and some of the work that we're doing for our really incredible clients. And then all of this comes back to what does this mean for content creation and the creative agency model. Okay, so this is our AI reality check. I wanted to do a campaign that we actually just launched, and I wanted it to be all about if you know, you know. And so I went to Leonardo, the program, and I had just been in London at a Canva and Leonardo and Superside event. And I was like, like AI, this prompting looks like anybody can do it. And this is what I got. This does not say if you know, you know. This was like, my vision was, hey, make helium balloons that say if you, I-Y-K-Y-K, whatever the hashtag is. And this is after like 15 attempts at prompting. I brought it to my team and I was like, you guys, I suck. But it's tough, and you need real creatives, you need really trained creatives to use this. And I learned firsthand, like, not everyone can do it. Not me, not everybody. There's a real significant skills gap out there today. Only 20% of designers are confident using AI tools. That's a really low percent. Less than 10% of design output of all the work us marketers do is AI generated. That's still 90% that's not. And then over 40% of enterprise teams, so like a lot of your teams, if you're from an enterprise company, they aren't using AI in their workflows at all. Like, that's still a huge percent at a time when everyone's worried about, like, are we gonna lose our jobs as creative? Like, we are still very much at the tip of the iceberg of adoption and skill. So, next slide. So Superside, where I am, where I live today, we're slightly ahead of the game. And that's because the company committed in 2023 to AI, to going all in AI. We were like, look, the creative agency model is changing. The agency model in general is changing. Like I mentioned, we came out of Y Combinator. We have tech founders that are very AI friendly, and we're ahead of the curve in terms of adoption. Our customers are the Silicon Valley companies of the world that are really comfortable with AI and share our mindset around like actually using adoption. And it's really in our DNA. Like, it's not just an add-on, it's how we're really powering our work today. And if you use an agency, this is really important that your agency is doing the same. And ultimately, 100% of our creatives have been AI upskilled. So they know how to use all the different programs out there today. But let's talk about like what it's actually good for. I don't know if there's like any Ali G fans in this room, but do you guys remember the horrible skit where he was like, technology, what is it good for? Remember that? Like, and this is kind of it. It's like AI, what is it good for in terms of like creative content creation? Where are we seeing success with it? Okay. What we're finding is, obviously, and I guarantee everyone in this room already knows this, doesn't replace creativity, it multiplies it. We know that when you bring AI into your creative workflows, you're unlocking speed, efficiency, scale. It allows you to explore more ideas and styles. I'll get into that in a little bit. And then it opens up endless possibilities. What used to require a photo shoot or really like hands-on, human, logistic-heavy execution doesn't exist anymore. You don't need to do that. And so I'm going to talk about a couple of really specific examples that everyone in this room, if you have a creative team or if you're the creative, like this is where you can start to implement it today. Image creation. It's huge. Image creation is something we can all start doing today. Sorry about the sort of wavy slides here, but I promise they don't look like this in real life. So, new vision for product imagery. This is huge for companies that have a lot of SKUs, a lot of inventory, anyone that has to do a lot of pictures for their business. One of our customers, iBuyDirect, it's really important for them to be able to try the frames on body. And so we created a model that allows their frames to go on any body. One, we allowed it so that their product imagery on their website is featured on different kinds of people with different face shapes, different colors of skin, without having to do any real photography, which is huge. And so really we're training these AI models on how to show a brand's image, a brand's product on body without having to do any real life photography. I'll talk about that a little more in a second too. This is also really, really important. This is really the future of where we're going with AI and branding and brand models. And that is AI brand models. I'm going to talk about that more in a second because I think it's incredibly important. It's also, AI is proving really, really helpful with idea generation, storyboarding, concepting. You're able to now put in a simple prompt that says, this is the kind of campaign I want to see or I want to potentially create. And AI will create an entire storyboard for you that used to have to be either hand sketched or CAD or put into Photoshop or Illustrator. Teams used to take hours to do this, and now we can come up with simple, like, huge scale ideas with a simple prompt. And so let's go back to this AI model exploration. Every brand in here can have a brand model today. This is not rocket science, this isn't data science, like, this is really, like, this is my level kind of stuff. And so I wanted to talk about this from, like I mentioned, if you have a brand that is very product image heavy, this is where it's at. So, for example, an apparel company came to Superside and said, look, we spend a ton of money on product photography every season. We want to create a model that can show our clothing on tons of different backgrounds, bodies, people, in situ, in studio, all the above. I know at Patagonia, we spent $2.5 million a year on on-body photography alone. Like, that's a ton of your marketing budget right there that can be saved with an AI brand model. And today, it's really dang hard to tell what is AI generated and what is not. Brands still have that fear today of, like, if I go towards AI generated imagery, is it gonna be obvious? Is it gonna look like crap? Like, what's it going to be? And so here's a bunch of hyper-realistic images that you can't really tell which are real or fake. Here's a tip. These are the ones that are real, and these are the ones that are fake. It's almost impossible at this point to tell what has really been shot and what is AI. So where are we seeing the most success? Like, where would my suggestion be to go and start investing in when it comes to AI and creative? Tons of success with digital and social ads. Like, when I was at Klaviyo, I mentioned I hired Superside. I hired Superside to come in and do all of my paid marketing for the team. We see that when you add AI to this work stream, you can be almost 70% more efficient. Illustration, like I mentioned, whether that's storyboarding, whether that's product sketching, whatever it is with illustration, we can create massive illustration banks in 12 hours. Images, like I mentioned, go hard on the imagery, it is worth it. And then branding, like I said, build an AI first brand. Build a brand model that allows your team to do more with less. And so where should you be doubling down? Everything I mentioned down below, whether that's video, AI-enhanced branding, copies, campaigns, voiceovers. Really, today, the playground is right in front of you. Okay, so let's talk about it in action. When I came to Superside, the brand was dog food, you guys. It was terrible. It was so bad. It looked like the website was made by, like, clip art from my 13-year-old teenager. It was just, and yet we were working for, like, Google and Intuit and all these incredible, huge enterprise brands, and I was like, you guys, we gotta up-level this. And so our founder asked me to do two things. One, he said, do it all in-house. We're a creative agency, we should be able to do that. And then make it AI first. And I remember, like, even 13 months ago, I was like, AI first, don't really know what that even means. Well, it means to build a brand system that is totally extensible and scalable with AI. If you design it with AI, you can grow it and use it and expand it with AI. And so as we dove into this rebrand process, we made sure every last image was AI generated, our color palette, AI generated. Every last element of our system was created with AI. So how do we grow on that? Well, and this is another tip that I think is actually really helpful. We knew we wanted to have tons of brand imagery. And we were like, look, okay, like I said, we created all of those images with AI, but how do you grow that? Like, campaigns have to feel fresh, cool, fun, all of the above. We're a creative agency, for heaven's sake. And so we did one photo shoot. We went to Cape Town, which is extremely inexpensive to shoot in. We shot, these are all Supersiders, these are all employees, no models. We kept it all in-house, and we built a model off the photo shoot. So we built a model that could create tons more imagery based on one photo shoot. So I don't need to do a photo shoot every year anymore. We've created a model that can do this for us without more human input or budget or any of those things that your CFO does not like. We also kept a mascot. And many brands in here today, I bet you might have a mascot, or like think of like Geico and their Gecko, like any brand that has a mascot, that too can have a model created around it. So that for Superside, our mascot is the astronaut. It's been with us since the company was launched. But now we have a model that can put our astronaut wherever we want him to be, whether that's serving coffee at Cannes or in the desert, figuring out new ways to get creative things done. We can put him wherever we want, whenever we want. We also have turned to video, an AI-generated video. I mentioned that if you know campaign that I had this terrible attempt at doing the helium balloons for. Well, we knew we wanted to create a hero video for the campaign. We knew we had $0, zero budget to be able to do it. And so the team was like, hey, let's triple down on learning how to do really great AI video. So everything in this video you're gonna see is AI. The voiceover, the motion, the imagery, everything was done with AI. Oh, no, you guys.
How is every one of their ads so f***ing good? How do they make B2B actually look cool? It's your favorite brand's favorite way to get video done. It's how marketers stop choosing between speed and quality. It's how in-house creatives go from overwork to over-delivering. It's Silicon Valley's best, worst-kept creative secret. Join over 500 companies partnering with the world's leading AI-powered creative service to get all the skills, scale, and speed your team needs. Superside. If you know, you know.
So for me as a marketer, that's incredible. $0, the only cost to me was a headcount of my team. And this is a team that as of a year ago did not have these skills. And so if you challenge your team today, just like Jake said, like give your team a mandate to learn how to code. Give your team a mandate to start using these tools. Within months, they can be AI upskilled. And so let's talk a little bit about agency. How many people in here use an agency? Okay, that's like 30%, and I bet I'm guessing almost like 40 to 50% of people in here use some sort of creative agency, whether that's for advertising concepts, whether that's for social, but many of us need to go external to use agency help, right? I have at many times in my career, whether it's for a rebrand or for me hiring Superside to come do our paid media. It's real, but today it's getting even more challenging because all of the agencies in the world are sort of freaking out. They're sort of going, what do we do to stay ahead of the curve? How do we go out with the old and in with the new? I mean, the most significant way that they're changing is they're starting to realize that the old agency model of large teams, large, lengthy contracts, rigid processes, it doesn't work anymore. AI has come in and truly disrupted how they operate, and it's made it so that agencies have to now scale up and scale down with demand. But AI can't just be another tool at an agency. It has to be a part of the mindset, and it has to be a part of how the agency is truly going to operate. So what does that future really look like? This one prompt generating, I think, like 150 ads. And this is what can be done today. And so the future, when I look at what the future is going to look like for all of us that need to get so much done, AI fluency is critical for all creatives. Like I said, go force your team to get on board. Force them to play. Force all of you to play. Like, I'm forcing myself to play in these tools because it makes me a better marketer, and I think all of us can do the same. The tedious non-billable work, like briefs and quoting and all of that's going to AI. So this is a one prompt brief that, because there is a brand GPT, it can spit out all of those ads in a second. And AI is going to touch every part of production, from image generation to localization. It's going to touch all of it. And so eventually, we're going to be launching massive campaigns with a single prompt. I'm really excited for that. And creatives, they're going to shift from being execution people that, like, maybe they're really good at video, maybe they're really good at illustration, to being strategic thinkers and tastemakers. AI cannot replace the value of a human creative in terms of trend jacking, in terms of knowing what is cool and current. Like, think of Rapp Summer. You think any AI, there's no AI out there that would have predicted that horrible green and confusing to understand, and probably not for our generation, AI could not have said that was going to be cool. Absolutely not. And so the creatives become even more important to direct, to inspire, to be those tastemakers. And in the future, only AI-forward agencies are going to survive. So how do you really tell if your agency's like on it and ready? Are they giving you what you need and deserve? I mean, I think take a look and make sure they're appointing AI leaders that drive innovation. Monks is a really big competitor of ours. I bet many of you have heard of Monks, Media Monks, they're now Monks. They have a chief innovation officer who seems like a total badass. I wish we could hire him and steal him. But like, Monks is ahead of the curve. They're doing the right things. Like, there are agencies out there that are bringing AI into their workflows and passing that productivity and the budget savings on to you. And then they're going to start upskilling teams, not in just tools, but in AI first thinking. So really push your agency, ask them, or push your team internally, ask them, like, how are you bringing AI into your workflows? What tools is the team relying on? Because this is what you get when someone like me creates one of these little plastic figures. I created the one on over there. It's bad. Like, it's not, there's nothing good about it. My team created this cute one. I'm a rock climber, have been for the last 25 years. And they were like, no, we can do something way better. And this is the difference between an upskilled creative and one that's not. And this process was a junk show, you guys. This was me playing around, trying to get it right. At first I was like, holy God, what did it do to my figure? Like, this is not good. Like, not good. And then I was like, okay, well, bring some of my real life into it. I jump horses. I was like, bring my horse in there. Bring my 5 children in there. Yes, I have 5. They only produced 4. They were like, there's no way this moron has 5 kids. And I was like, put my 4 dogs in there. They put the dogs in there. But then as I prompted it further and further, it almost got worse and worse. I was making it worse. Even though I thought I was making it better. I was like, hey, add 5 kids. And this is what I created. Add 4 dogs. It gave me 3 down here, but it did get the breeds right. And so again, it's just about giving your team the time, the space, the energy, the budget to upskill themselves, because it doesn't happen overnight. And ultimately, AI is absolutely transforming the creative industry. And it's changing really fast. You guys see the launches. Every week a new tool launches. Every week something new is out there that is better. Whether it was GPT a couple weeks ago that inspired all of those little packages, or what else is to come next. But humans, they're still really essential. And like I said, they're going to continue to be incredibly important. in defining your brand and pushing your brand forward. But because design isn't just about aesthetics. It's about context and intuition and taste. And AI is not going to build your brand. And it's incredibly important to continue to empower your team and those that will with upskilling, with the freedom to learn and test and fail. So yeah, AI is definitely changing how we create, but the why is still very much deeply human. And that's the end of my presentation.
Anyone questions?
Thanks so much for the fun presentation.
Yeah.
In a world where you can create content for almost anybody and adapt your brand to almost anybody, how do you tie it all together to a singular brand message?
Yeah, I don't think this is working, but I can kind of yell. I have a loud voice. I got 5 kids. I yell all the damn time. Okay, so how do you define it? Like, how do you keep it to a single message when you can kind of create everything for everybody? And I think it goes back to what Jake said. Like, having a really clear definition of your ICP and only building content for them. That's a really scary thing to do, but actually there's a great company in this room, ServiceNow. I'm a total fangirl a year or two, but they did a really incredible job of saying, you know what, we have one ICP, we are building for one person. We are building for one kind of person, and it really inspired our founder. And he was like, you know what, moving forward, we have one ICP, and that is the enterprise tech company. And that's really hard for a business like ours to be like, we're gonna stop bringing in these like fast SMBs that are gonna come in and bring us lots of money. 75% of the revenue when we made that decision to like shift to just one ICP. And so that's helped my team really focus in on like what we create, who we create for. But again, it's like knowing who you're talking to and really only talking to them and not being afraid to do that. Like one more example of that is Patagonia. Patagonia does a really good job of that. I can tell you it's like the guys in the financial district in New York City that are like paying everybody's salaries because they're buying a lot of Patagonia. But honestly, it's like we still market to just the alpinist. Like we still market to the highest common denominator, and that is the alpinist that's gonna wear this to go do really cool stuff in the mountains. And yeah, everyone's gonna buy it, but we have one ICP and we create content just for them.
Hey, awesome presentation. Quick question. Are you still doing manual or traditional content production in any areas? And if so, where and why?
Yeah, I mean, short answer is absolutely. Like, there is so much today that still needs to be done by humans, whether that's like blog articles that are really specific. I still have a full team I have a content team. It's only 3 people big, but we still have a content team that does that. I still have a social media manager, even though 90% of what she posts is AI generated. She still has to be the one that's going out there and being like, I know this is cool, I know this is gonna perform, AI isn't there yet. And I think it was Jake asked me a question earlier, he was like, how much of the work Superside does today is truly AI generated and how much is not? I think it's about 50%. Like we will bring in the big, good, smart thinking humans when we have really big projects that require incredible like creativity and thought. Whereas like performance marketing ads, let's be honest, like the worse they are, the better they perform. So we can give them to AI. It breaks my heart every day. As a brand person, I'm just like, oh my God. The highest performing ad we had at DoorDash was it was a burger that was on fire, flying through the sky. And I was like, my job at this company is to get rid of that and never use that again. And we never found something that performed better than it. It was just like heartbreaking.
I think this is kind of
following the same flow. You mentioned like a lot of the people are going to become strategists, and I think not only that applies to design but also marketing in general. I run a large team, and my question to you is the assumption that everyone can become that strategist at some point, but what would be like the ramping time? Because my worrisome is, let's say if I have 100 people, and assuming that only 20% are going to become those strategists, what are some early signs that you're seeing in those 20% that can or will become those strategists? Because the other 80 people are just doing admin or repetitive tasks. I am personally not assuming that everyone wants or have the skill set to kind of fight to stay in that 20%, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it reminds me so much of my first job was at a rock climbing company called Black Diamond Equipment, and it was, not only was I the copywriter, I was also the photo editor and packaging manager, and I had 6 jobs when I was in college. But it was the time when we shifted from physical photography to digital. And all the photographers, the way they got their pictures in our catalogs was they would send in slides. And I would literally go through the slides with a little eye thing. And we shifted while I was there to digital photography, and every photographer was like, shoot, I don't want to do this. This is going to ruin our craft, it's going to make things hard, I don't want to do this. And there's no one's still on that train anymore. Every single photographer now is adept at digital photography. There's still the incredible Annie Leibovitzes of the world that will still use film at certain times and places. But I was on a photo shoot with her once, and she did a ton of digital. And so it's I think we're at a place where every creative, they might not show the aptitude right now, or they might not have that willingness. They're going to have to get on the train. And if they don't, the station's gonna leave, right? You're gonna let them go, or I'm gonna let them go, because they have to get on this train in one way, shape, or form. And I do think even the most junior people today, people coming out of college or in college, they're the ones that typically would have come out and been an illustrator or a video editor. But even now, they're coming out with grander thinking skills, with strategic thinking skills. And I just think it has to happen. There's really no other option for us. It's the same for us as marketers. I think we have to get on board with it or be left behind. When I get calls from recruiters, they're like, what are you doing with AI? I think as marketers, we're going to be expected to be sharper and again, get on board.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, guys.